How are you guys doing? Today is Sunday, May 22nd, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Saturday, May 21st. And of course, before I get into what's going on today, I'm going to take a quick step back and remind everyone what's going on in this world of sports at this moment. Starting off in the United States here with basketball, the NBA is now down to 4 teams as we are in the conference final rounds for both the East and the West. Neither side is seeing a team facing elimination at this very moment, but a couple of teams are a game away from being so. With that said, in the NHL, there are 8 teams left as we are in the second round, the divisional final round, if you will, of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB, we are in the second month of its season as, of course, everyone is still trying to get a good standing, a good feeling of one another within their divisions. And taking a look at what's going on overseas, a lot of European seasons are coming to a close. I'm taking a look very quickly at what is going on in Ligue 1. The newest league to be done is France. Now the French and German seasons are over. As the Premier League in England, the Serie A in Italy, and La Liga in Spain are planning to continue today. With that said, I'm going to start first with what's going on in the NBA. Starting off in Boston, it was Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Coming in, the series was tied at 1. After the first 2 games were played in Miami, the Heat would go on to win Game 1 by 11, and the Celtics won Game 2 by 25. In Game 3, the Heat would take a 2-1 series lead after beating the Celtics 109-103. They would win this game by 6 after they took a 21-point lead after the first quarter, and that would be the difference in this matchup. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown 2-seed Boston Celtics were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard out of Cal, Jaylen Brown. He finished with 40 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 turnovers in 42 minutes. He shot 14 for 20 from the field, 3 for 9 from 3, and 9 for 12 from the free throw line. Their starting center out of Florida, Al Horford, finished with 20 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 42 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and he made all 3 of his free throws. Their starting point guard, the 2021-22 NBA Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart, finished with 16 points and 7 assists as he fouled out in 37 minutes. He shot 6 for 11 from the field, and he shot 3 for 5 from the free throw line. Their elite starting small forward out of Duke, Jason Tatum, finished with 10 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 6 turnovers in 41 minutes. He shot 3 for 14 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. Their power forward off the bench, Grant Williams, finished with 10 points and 5 rebounds as he fouled out in 39 minutes. He shot 2 for 6 from the field, and he made all 4 of his free throws. On the winning end of this matchup, the top-seeded Miami Heat were led in scoring by their starting center out of Kentucky, Bam Adebayo. He finished with 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists, as well as 4 steals in 42 minutes. He shot 15 for 22 from the field, and he made his only free throw. Their starting power forward, PJ Tucker, finished with 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 steals in 38 minutes. He would go on to shoot 5 for 10 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and he made all 4 of his free throws. Their starting shooting guard, Max Strus, finished with 16 points in 34 minutes as he shot 6 for 12 from the field and 4 for 7 from 3. Their starting point guard, Kyle Lowry, finished with 11 points, 6 assists, and 4 steals in 29 minutes. Their elite starting small forward, Jimmy Butler, finished with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals in 20 minutes. He shot 3 for 8 from the field as he made both of his free throws. With this win, the top-seeded Miami Heat now hold a 2-1 series lead over the Boston Celtics. They are now 2 wins away from the NBA Finals as the Boston Celtics are now trailing the series 2-1. They will host Game 4 tomorrow on ABC. They have to win 3 of the next 4 games if they want to advance to the NBA Finals. They are not yet facing elimination, but with one more loss, their backs will be up against the wall. So that's what's going on in the Eastern Conference. Taking a look at what is going on in the NBA today. Today should, of course, be Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals, as the 4 seed in the West, Dallas Mavericks, are set to host the 3 seed Golden State Warriors. After both of the first 2 games were played in San Francisco, the Warriors hold a 2-0 series lead. They won Game 1 by 25, and they won Game 6 by 9 points. The Mavericks' chance to, of course, move within a game, because if the Warriors win this game, then the Mavericks would have to win the next 4 in order to make it through, which would be very tough. But as of right now, neither of those teams is facing elimination. There will be 4 teams left in the NBA playoffs tomorrow. With that said, taking a look at what's going on in the NHL, there was only one second-round Stanley Cup game, as this was the Central Divisional Final, as the 3 seed St. Louis Blues would go on to host the top seed Colorado Avalanche. Coming into this matchup, the series was, of course, tied at 1 after the first 2 games were played in Denver. The Avalanche won Game 1 in overtime, and then the Blues would win Game 2. In Game 3 in St. Louis, the Avalanche would win 5-2 after the Blues scored the first goal of this matchup. The Avalanche would score 3 unanswered to take a lead that the Blues would not be able to come back from. They would take the lead in the second period off of Nazem Kadri's goal. Taking a look at the stars in this matchup, the first star went to Colorado's goalie, Darcy Kuemper. He finished with 29 saves. He only allowed 2 goals on the night. The second star went to St. Louis's center, Ryan O'Reilly, as he had a goal and an assist. The third star went to St. Louis's defender, Colton Parayko, as he would finish with a goal for himself. With this win, the Colorado Avalanche are now 2 wins away from the Western Conference Final. And with this loss, the Blues will host Game 4 tomorrow on TNT. They have to win 3 of their next 4 games if they want to advance to the next round. And taking a look at what's going on after this, the winner of this round will face off against the winner of the Pacific Divisional Final between the top seed Calgary Flames and the 2 seed Edmonton Oilers. With that said, taking a look at what is going on today with playoff hockey, as we are still within the second round, as it's really intense. There are going to be 3 Game 2s today. The first is going to be at 1:30 on TNT in Amalie Arena in Tampa, as the defending back-to-back Stanley Cup champs, Tampa Bay Lightning, are going to face the top-rated seed in their division, the Atlantic Division, the Florida Panthers. The Lightning are going to host Games 3 and 4 after they were able to win Games 1 and 2 at the Panthers. They were, with a win here, they would be 1 win away from the Eastern Conference Finals. The Florida Panthers have to win here if they want to at least get a fighting chance, but if they lose, they are not out. At 3:30 on ESPN, looking at what's going on in Madison Square Garden, we will see the Metropolitan Divisional Final, as the 2 seed New York Rangers are hosting the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina holds a 2-0 series lead after Carolina won the first 2 games in Carolina. This is the Rangers' opportunity to get one up on them in front of their hometown fans. If the Hurricanes win, the Rangers aren't exactly eliminated, but their backs will be up against the wall. But the Rangers have to win 4 of their next 5 games if they want to advance. And then at 8 o'clock on ESPN2, it will be the Pacific Division Final, as this series is taking place fully in Canada, as the Edmonton Oilers are set to host the Calgary Flames in Edmonton. This series is currently tied at 1, as the first 2 games were played in Calgary. Calgary won the first game by 3 goals. The Oilers won Game 2 by 2. So it is now a best-of-5 series between these two, as the winner of this series will face off against the winner between the Colorado Avalanche and the St. Louis Blues. Taking a look now at what's going on with regular season baseball, starting off in the Bronx, the New York Yankees hosted the Chicago White Sox. The Yankees would end up beating the White Sox 7-5 thanks to a 5-run second inning that they were able to pull off thanks to a grand slam from DJ LeMahieu. On the losing end of this matchup, the Chicago White Sox see the loss go to their starting pitcher and former Cy Young winner Dallas Keuchel. He allowed 6 earned runs off of 6 hits in 4 innings pitched as he walked 3 batters. With this loss, he's 2-4. In the White Sox batting lineup, their elite shortstop Tim Anderson went 2 for 4 with a run. Their elite designated hitter and former MVP Jose Abreu went 1 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. He hit his 4th home run of the season. Their left fielder AJ Pollock went 2 for 4 with a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown New York Yankees saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Nestor Cortes. Cortes allowed 3 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 7 batters, and with this win, Cortes is 3-1. The save would end up going to the Yankees closer, Clay Holmes, as he allowed no earned runs. He finished off the 8th and pitched the entire 9th. He would strike out 2 batters, and with this save, he now has 4 on the year. In the Yankees batting lineup, their elite third baseman DJ LeMahieu went 1 for 4 with 4 RBIs and a run. He hit his 3rd home run of the year. Their elite right fielder Giancarlo Stanton ended up going 3 for 4. With this win, the New York Yankees are 29-10. That is the best record in the American League East and the best record in the American League as a whole. They've won 8 of their last 10 games, and they now sit 5.5 games ahead of the second-place Tampa Bay Rays in their division. As of right now, they are holding the best record in baseball as of right now. They're the only team who's won at least 70% of their games. And like I said, they're 5.5 games ahead of the Rays. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are 19-20. That is the second best record in the American League Central. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They are currently sitting 4.5 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins. Taking a look at what happened in Colorado and Denver, looking at the only doubleheader from yesterday, the Colorado Rockies ended up hosting the New York Mets. In the first game, the Mets would end up beating the Rockies 5-1 as they scored the first 5 runs of the game before the Rockies scored their lone run in the bottom of the 6th. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Rockies would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, German Marquez. He allowed 5 runs off of 11 hits in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 7 batters and walked 1. With this loss, he's 1-4. In the Rockies batting lineup, their first baseman C.J. Cron went 3 for 4 in Game 1 with a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the New York Mets saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Carlos Carrasco. Carrasco allowed 1 earned run off of 7 hits in the 5.1 innings he pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, he's now 4-1. In the Mets batting lineup, their right fielder, Starling Marte, ended up going 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 4th home run of the year. Their elite designated hitter, Pete Alonso, went 2 for 5. Their left fielder, Jeff McNeil, went 2 for 5. Their second baseman, Luis Guillorme, went 3 for 4 with a run. And then following this Mets win, the Rockies would even up the doubleheader with an 11-3 win in front of their hometown fans, especially after a 7-run 6th inning that would see a lot of players score, of course, 7 of them. On the losing end of Game 2, the New York Mets would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams he's now 0-3 on the season as he allowed 4 earned runs off of 3 hits in 4 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters, and with this loss, he's 0-3. In the Mets batting lineup, their center fielder, Brandon Nimmo, went 2 for 3 with an RBI. Their elite first baseman, Pete Alonso, went 2 for 4. And then their designated hitter, J.D. Davis, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. And on the winning end of this matchup of Game 2, the hometown Rockies saw the start go to, the Colorado Rockies, in Game 2 was either start go to Ty Blatch. Ty Blatch would allow 2 earned runs off of 6 hits in 3 innings pitched as he walked a batter. The win would end up going to the Rockies' first relief pitcher, Ashton Goudeau. Goudeau allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits as he would pitch through the 4th and 5th innings, get pulled in the 6th. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1 in that stretch, and with this win, he's now 1-0. In the Rockies batting lineup, their right fielder, Connor Joe, went 3 for 5 with a run. And then their center fielder, Randall Grichuk, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Cron would have his 4th hit of the day as he went 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He had his 11th home run of the season. And then the Colorado Rockies catcher for this matchup, Brian Serven, would end up going 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. His 2 hits were his first 2 home runs of the season. With this win, with this loss and win, the Colorado Rockies are 19-20. That is the worst record in the National League West. They've won 3 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 8 games behind the division-leading Los Angeles Dodgers. With this loss, the New York Mets are 27-15, and of course, they won yesterday as well. That is the best record in the National League East. It is the 4th best record in the National League win percentage-wise. Even though they are tied with the Dodgers for the most wins in the National League, they've lost 4 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 7 games ahead of the second place, defending champs Atlanta Braves within their own division. Taking a look at what happened in Chicago now, the Cubs hosted the Arizona Cardinals, and in this matchup that would go to extra innings, the Diamondbacks would outscore the Cubs 3-2 in the 10th inning to win this game 7-6. The difference in extra innings would be, of course, it would be a Dalton Varsho 3-run double, base clearing double that would give them the win here. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Chicago Cubs saw the start go to Justin Steele. Justin Steele allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit in 5 innings pitched. He would strike out 9 batters and walk 2. The loss would end up going to the Cubs setup relief pitcher in this matchup, Rowan Wick. Rowan Wick would allow 3 runs off of 2 hits as he would go on to pitch 0.1 innings as he would not even make it through the 10th. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Cubs batting lineup, their third baseman, Jonathan Villar, would end up going 2 for 5 with an RBI. He was the only player on the team with a multi-hit game. And on the winning end of this matchup, the Arizona Diamondbacks would be led out by their starting pitcher and former World Series hero, Madison Bumgarner. He allowed 4 earned runs off of 5 hits in 7 innings pitched. He would strike out 7 batters. The win would end up going to the Diamondbacks setup relief pitcher in this matchup, Ian Kennedy. Ian Kennedy would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit. As he would pitch through the 9th inning, he would strike out a batter. With this win, Ian Kennedy is 3-2. The save would go to the Diamondbacks closer, Mark Melancon. He allowed 2 runs off of 2 hits in the 10th inning as he would strike out 2 batters. He picked up his 9th save of the year. In the Diamondbacks batting lineup, their right fielder, Jake McCarthy, would end up going 3 for 4 with an RBI and 3 runs. Their catcher, Dalton Varsho, would go 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 21-21. That is the 4th best record in the National League West. They've now won their last 3 games. Their 3-game winning streak is tied with the Milwaukee Brewers and the San Diego Padres for the 2nd longest active winning streak in the National League. Only the Dodgers have a longer active winning streak in the National League than the Diamondbacks right now. The Diamondbacks have won 4 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 7.5 games behind the division-leading LA Dodgers. They are one of 4 teams in the NL West sitting at 500 or above. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are 15-24. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central as they've now lost their last 4 games. Their 4-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the National League. It is the longest active losing streak in the majors as well. They've now lost 5 of their last 10 games, and overall, the Cubs are sitting 10.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Taking a look at what happened north of the border in Canada, the Blue Jays hosted the Cincinnati Reds. The Blue Jays would pick up their 22nd win of the year after they beat the Reds 3-1. After the Reds scored the first run of the game, the Blue Jays would tie it up off of a solo home run from Bo Bichette. And then Bo Bichette's second home run of the day would, of course, be a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 7th as he's responsible for all 3 of the runs the Blue Jays scored. On the losing end of this matchup, the Cincinnati Reds would see the start go to Hunter Green. Hunter Green would only allow 1 run off of 4 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He would strike out 6 batters and walk 2. The save would end up going to the Reds' first relief pitcher, Luis Cessa. Cessa would allow 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 7th inning as he struck out a batter. With his loss, he's now 2-1. In the Reds batting lineup, their right fielder, Tyler Naquin, went 2 for 4 with a run. And then the Reds' second baseman, Alejo Lopez, would go 2 for 3. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Toronto Blue Jays saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Alek Manoah. Manoah allowed 1 earned run off of 7 hits in the 8 innings he pitched as he struck out 4 batters. With this win, he's now 5-1. The save would end up going to the Blue Jays closer, Jordan Romano. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out 3 batters, all 3 of the batters he needed to get out. He picked up his 14th save of the year. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Bo Bichette, went 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. He would go on to hit his 5th and 6th home runs of the season for Toronto. Taking a look at what happened in San Francisco, the Giants went on to host the San Diego Padres. The Padres would end up beating the Giants 2-1 as they scored the first 2 runs of the game, not even giving the Giants a chance. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown San Francisco Giants saw the loss go to their starting pitcher, Carlos Rodon. Rodon would allow 2 earned runs off of 5 hits in 6 innings pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 4. With this loss, Carlos Rodon is 4-3 on the year. In the Giants batting lineup, the only player with a multi-hit game was their left fielder and former World Series champ, Jock Peterson. He would go on to go 2 for 4 And on the winning end of this matchup, the San Diego Padres saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Joe Musgrove. Musgrove allowed no earned runs off of 4 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 3. With this win, he's now 5-0. The save would end up going to the Padres closer, Taylor Rogers. Taylor Rogers would allow no earned runs off of 1 hit in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. He would pick up his 16th save of the year. In the Padres batting lineup, their designated hitter, Jurickson Profar, would go 2 for 3. He was the only player with a multi-hit game. The Padres' elite third baseman, Manny Machado, went 1 for 5 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 8th home run of the season. With this win, the San Diego Padres are 26-14. That is the second best record in the National League West. They are currently on a 3-game winning streak, tied with the Milwaukee Brewers and the Arizona Diamondbacks for the second longest active winning streak in the National League, behind the Dodgers. The Padres have won 7 of their last 10 games. They are sitting a game and a half behind the NL leading Dodgers. Right now, they are tied with the Milwaukee Brewers for the second best record in the National League. And with this loss, the San Francisco Giants are 22-17. That is the third best record in the National League West. They are currently on a 3-game losing streak. They are tied with the Philadelphia Phillies and the Miami Marlins for the second longest active losing streak in the National League. Only the Cubs have a longer active losing streak than the Giants right now in the National League. The Giants have lost 5 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 5 games behind the division-leading LA Dodgers. Taking a look at what happened with Boston, the Red Sox hosted the Seattle Mariners. The Red Sox would end up beating the Mariners 6-5. After the Mariners scored the first 5 runs of the game, the Red Sox were tied up in the bottom of the 5th. In the bottom of the 8th, it would be a sac fly from Christian Vazquez to give the Red Sox the lead and eventually the win at winning it 6-5. On the losing end of this matchup, the Seattle Mariners would see the start go to Chris Flexen. Flexen allowed 5 earned runs off of 8 hits and 4 innings pitched. He struck out 2 batters and walked 3. The loss would go to the Mariners' setup relief pitcher, Drew Steckenrider. Steckenrider allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits as he would go on to start the 7th inning. But he would not make it through. With this loss, he's 0-2. In the Mariners batting lineup, their shortstop, J.P. Crawford, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their center fielder, Julio Rodriguez, went 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their third baseman, Eugenio Suarez, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. And then their designated hitter in this matchup, Mike Ford, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Boston Red Sox saw the start go to Garrett Whitlock. Whitlock allowed 5 earned runs off of 10 hits in the 3 innings he pitched as he struck out 3 batters. The win would go to the Red Sox setup relief pitcher John Schreiber. Schreiber allowed no earned runs and no hits in the 8th inning as he struck out 2. With his win, he's now 1-0. The save would go to the Red Sox closer Matt Barnes. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he would strike out a batter. He picked up his 2nd save of the year. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their elite third baseman Rafael Devers would go 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. He would go on to hit his 8th and 9th home runs of the year. Their elite shortstop Xander Bogaerts would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. And then their catcher in this matchup, Christian Vazquez, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are 18-22. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They've now won their last 4 games. That is the longest active winning streak in the American League. Only the LA Dodgers have a longer winning streak than them in the major leagues. The Red Sox have won 7 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 11.5 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees at this moment. With this loss, the Seattle Mariners are 17-24. That is the fourth best record in the American League West. They've now lost their last 3 games. They are tied with the Kansas City Royals and the Detroit Tigers for the longest active losing streaks in the American League. Only the Chicago Cubs have a longer active losing streak than the Seattle Mariners right now. The Mariners have lost 7 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 9 games behind the AL West leading Houston Astros. Taking a look at what happened in Philadelphia, the Phillies hosted the LA Dodgers. The Dodgers would end up beating the Phillies they would win the game 7-4 to extend their winning streak to 7. The Phillies held a 4-1 lead in the 4th inning. The Dodgers would eventually tie it up with a Will Smith solo home run in the 6th, and then they would take the lead off of a Gavin Lux RBI single in the top of the 8th, as they would have to score 6 unanswered runs to win this game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Philadelphia Phillies saw the start go to Aaron Nola. Nola allowed 4 earned runs off of 5 hits, and he would pitch 5.1 innings. He would strike out 9 batters and walk 1. The loss for the Phillies would go to their third relief pitcher, Jose Alvarado. He would allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits, as he would go on to finish the 7th inning, and with this loss, he's 0-1. In the Phillies batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than 1 hit, as their left fielder, Kyle Schwarber, would hit his 10th home run of the year. Their third baseman and second-year player, Alec Boehm, would go on to hit his 3rd home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the LA Dodgers were led out by their starting pitcher, Mitch White. Mitch White would allow 3 earned runs off of 3 hits in 2.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1. The win would end up going to their relief pitcher, Daniel Hudson. He was their 5th relief pitcher on the day, as he would allow no earned runs off and no hits in 1.1 innings pitched. He would go on to pick up his 2nd win of the season, as with this win, he's now 2-3. The save would go to the Dodgers' elite closer, Craig Kimbrell. Kimbrell would allow no earned runs and no hits in the 9th inning, as he struck out 2 batters, and with this save, he now has 9 on the year. In the Dodgers batting lineup, their elite right fielder Mookie Betts went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run, as the former American League MVP would go on to hit his 9th home run of the season. Their designated hitter Justin Turner went 3 for 4. Their elite center fielder Cody Bellinger went 2 for 5 with a run. And with this win, the LA Dodgers are now 27-12. That is the best record in the National League West. The only team with a better record than them in the major leagues is the New York Yankees. The Dodgers have now won their last 7 games. That is the longest active winning streak in the majors. They've won 7 of their last 10. Within their division, the NL West, they are sitting a game and a half ahead of the 2nd place San Diego Padres. With this loss, the Philadelphia Phillies are 18-22. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East, as they've now lost their last 3 games. They are tied with the Miami Marlins and the San Francisco Giants for the 2nd longest active losing streak in the National League. The Phillies have lost 5 of their last 10 games, as they are sitting 8 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what happened in Miami, the Marlins hosted the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves. The Braves would end up beating the Marlins 4-3, as they would score the first 3 runs of the game, not even giving the Marlins a chance to take the lead. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Marlins saw the loss go to their starting pitcher Elise Hernandez. He would allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 1. With this loss, he's 2-4. In the Marlins batting lineup, their first baseman, Garrett Cooper, would end up going 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their designated hitter in the World Series MVP for last year's World Series, Jorge Soler, for the Braves, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI. On the winning end of this matchup, the Atlanta Braves saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Kyle Wright. He allowed no earned runs and only 2 hits in 5 innings pitched, as he struck out 6 batters and walked 3. With this win, Kyle Wright is 4-2. The save would end up going to the Braves closer for the day, Kenley Jansen. He allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits in the 9th inning, as he struck out 3. He would pick up his 10th save of the year yesterday. In the Braves batting lineup, the only player there were 2 players with multi-hit games. Their elite second baseman, Ozzie Albies, went 2 for 4. Their catcher, William Contreras, would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 5th and 6th home runs of the season. With this win, the Atlanta Braves are 19-21. The defending champs are holding the 2nd best record in the National League East, as they've won their last 2 games and they've won 5 of their last 10. Sitting 2 games below 500, they are sitting 7 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. With this loss, the Miami Marlins are 17-22. That is the fourth best record in the National League East. They have now lost their last 3 games. They are tied with the Philadelphia Phillies and the San Francisco Giants for the 2nd longest active losing streak in the National League. Only the Chicago Cubs have a longer active losing streak than the Marlins in the National League. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They are currently sitting 8.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what happened in Pittsburgh, the Pirates hosted the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals would end up beating the Pirates 5-4, as the Pirates would get close, but they would not get a chance to take a lead in this game at home. On the losing end of this matchup, the loss would go to the Pirates starting pitcher Jose Quintana. He would allow 5 runs off of 7 hits in the 3.2 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 1. With this loss, he's now 1-2. In the Pirates batting lineup, their center fielder Bryan Reynolds went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their designated hitter Yoshi Tsutsugo would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI. But going back to Reynolds hit his 5th home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the Cardinals would see the start go to their starting pitcher for the day, Matthew Liberatore. Matthew Liberatore would allow 4 earned runs off of 7 hits in the 4.2 innings he pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 2. The win would end up going to the Cardinals' first relief pitcher on the day, as the first win of the season would go to Drew Verhagen. Drew Verhagen would allow no earned runs and no hits as he finished off the 5th, and he would pitch the 6th and 7th innings as he had 2.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1, and with this win, he's now 1-0. The save for the Cardinals would end up going to their closer for the day, as this responsibility was eventually given to Ryan Helsley. Helsley would allow no earned runs and no hits in the 9th inning. In this matchup, he would strike out a batter and pick up his 2nd save of the year. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their second baseman, Tommy Edman, ended up going 2 for 5 with an RBI. Their elite first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, went 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs. With this win, the St. Louis Cardinals are 22-18. That is the second best record in the National League Central, as they've won their last 2 games and they've won 5 of their last 10. They are sitting 4 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers at this point in the year. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 16-23. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central, as they have now lost their last 2 games. They've lost 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 9.5 games behind the NL Central leading Milwaukee Brewers and the reigning NL Central champs. Taking a look at what happened in Baltimore, the Orioles hosted the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays would end up beating the Orioles 6-1, as the Orioles scored their lone run after the Rays scored all 6 of theirs. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Baltimore Orioles saw the loss go to their starting pitcher, Kyle Bradish. Bradish allowed 5 earned runs off of 5 hits in 5.1 innings pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 2. With this loss, he's now 1-3. In the Orioles batting lineup, their first baseman, Trey Mancini, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. He was the only player with a multi-hit game. On the winning end of this matchup, the Tampa Bay Rays saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Jeffrey Springs. Jeffrey Springs allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit in 5.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 7 batters and walk 4. With this win, he's now 2-1. In the Rays batting lineup, their center fielder, Kevin Kiermaier, went 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 5th home run of the season. Their elite left fielder and reigning American League Rookie of the Year, Randy Rosarena, went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 3rd and 4th home runs of the season. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are 24-16. That is the 2nd best record in the American League East, as they've won 6 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 5.5 games behind the American League leading New York Yankees within their division. And taking a look at where the Orioles are, they are now 16-25. That is the worst record in the American League East, as they've now lost 7 of their last 10. They are sitting 14 games behind the Yankees in their division. Taking a look at what happened in Houston in this Texas matchup, the Astros hosted the Texas Rangers. The Astros would end up beating the Rangers 2-1, as the Astros scored the first 2 runs of the game, even though the Rangers finished with 10 hits as a total team. On the losing end of this matchup, the Rangers would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, John Gray. John Gray allowed 2 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 6 innings he pitched, as he would strike out 4 batters and walk 2. With this loss, he's now 1-2 on the year. In the Rangers batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Corey Seager, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. Their center fielder, Adolis Garcia, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI. Their first baseman, Nathaniel Lowe, would go 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Houston Astros saw the win go to their goated starting pitcher, Justin Verlander. Verlander allowed no earned runs, and he allowed 6 hits in 6 innings, as he would strike out 8. With this win, he's now 6-1. The save would end up going to the Astros closer, Ryan Presley. He allowed no earned runs and only one hit in the ninth inning as he struck out a batter. With this save, he now has 5 on the year. In the Astros batting lineup, their designated hitter Yordan Alvarez went 2 for 4 with an RBI. And with this win, the Houston Astros are now 26-15. That is the best record in the American League West. It is the second best record in the American League, as only the Yankees have a better record than them in the entire league. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. They are sitting a game and a half ahead of the second place LA Angels within the AL West. With this loss, the Texas Rangers are 18-21. That is the third best record in the American League West. They've lost 4 of their last 10 games, and they are now sitting 7 games behind the division-leading Houston Astros. Taking a look at what happened in Kansas City, the Royals hosted the Minnesota Twins. The Twins would end up beating the Royals 9-2, as the Royals never really had a chance to take the lead in this game. They were close, but the Twins were the team that were dominating from the get-go. On the losing end of this matchup, the Royals saw the loss go to their starting pitcher, Brad Keller. Keller would allow 4 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 7 innings he pitched as he struck out 4 batters and walked 3. With this loss, he's 1-4. In the Royals batting lineup, their left fielder Andrew Benintendi went 3 for 3 with an RBI. He was the only player with a multi-hit game for the Royals. On the winning end of this matchup, the Minnesota Twins saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan allowed 1 earned run off of 5 hits and 5.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 6 batters and walk 2. With this win, he's now 5-2, and in the Twins batting lineup, their first baseman, Luis Arraez, would end up going 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. Their elite shortstop, Carlos Correa, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs, and with this win, the Minnesota Twins are 24-16. That is the best record in the American League Central. They've now won their last 3 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. Their 3-game winning streak is the second longest active winning streak in the American League, as only the Red Sox have a longer active winning streak than the Twins. The Twins are sitting 4.5 games ahead of the second place Chicago White Sox within their division. They're the only team in the AL Central that's above 500 at this point. And, of course, with this loss, the Kansas City Royals are now 14-25. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central, as they've now lost their last 3 games. They're tied with the Detroit Tigers and the Seattle Mariners for the longest active losing streak in the American League. As of right now, only the Chicago Cubs have a longer active losing streak than the Kansas City Royals. They have now lost 6 of their last 10 games. I don't know if I said that, but right now they are sitting 9.5 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins. Taking a look at what happened in Milwaukee, talking about another division leader, the Brewers hosted the Washington Nationals. The Brewers would end up beating the Nats 5-1 after the Brewers would get their lead in the first inning of this game, not even giving the Nats a chance to take a lead themselves. On the losing end of this matchup, the 2019 World Series champs Washington Nationals were led out by their starting pitcher Patrick Corbin. Corbin allowed 5 earned runs off of 8 hits in the 5 innings he pitched as he struck out 3 batters and would walk 1. With this loss, he's 0-7. In the Nats batting lineup, their catcher Keibert Ruiz went 2 for 3. Their center fielder in this matchup, Lane Thomas, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his second home run of the season. Their shortstop, D. Strange Gordon, went 2 for 3. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Milwaukee Brewers saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Brandon Woodruff. Brandon Woodruff would allow 1 earned run off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He would strike out 6 batters, and with this win, Brandon Woodruff is 5-2. The save would go to the Brewers' elite closer, Josh Hader. He allowed no earned runs to get the last out of the game, and with the save, he now has 15 on the season. In the Brewers' batting lineup, their designated hitter and former National League MVP, Andrew McCutchen, went 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 3rd home run of the season yesterday. Their shortstop in this matchup, Luis Urias, would end up going 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 3rd home run of the season. Their elite left fielder and former National League MVP, Christian Yelich, went 2 for 5 with a run. Their first baseman, Keston Hiura, went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. With this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 26-14. That is the best record in the National League Central. They've won their last 3 games. They are tied with the Padres and the Diamondbacks for the second longest active winning streak in the in the National League at this moment. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. Right now, they're sitting 4 games ahead of the second place St. Louis Cardinals. Right now, they are tied with the San Diego Padres for the second best record in the National League behind the Dodgers, win percentage-wise. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are 13-28. That is the worst record in the National League East. They've now lost their last 2 games. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They are sitting 13.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. So with that said, taking a look last but not least at what happened in Anaheim, the LA Angels hosted the Oakland Athletics. The Angels would end up beating the A's 5-3 as the A's would score all 3 of their runs after the Angels score all 5 of theirs, as the A's just would not have a chance to take the lead in this game. On the losing end of this matchup, the Athletics saw the start go to Frankie Montas. Montas allowed only 1 hit, not even a run, in 1.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 2 batters before he was pulled in the second. The loss would go to the A's second relief pitcher, Adam Koloric. He would pitch 1.1 innings, of course, finishing off the 4th inning or finishing off the 5th. He would allow 2 earned runs and only 3 hits in that span as he struck out 2 batters. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Athletics batting lineup, their third baseman in this matchup, Sheldon Neuse, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their catcher, Sean Murphy, went 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown LA Angels saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Michael Lorenzen. Lorenzen allowed no earned runs off of 3 hits in the 6 innings he pitched as he struck out 5 batters and walked 2. With this win, he's now 5-2. The save would end up going to the Angels closer, Raisel Iglesias. Iglesias would allow no earned runs and no hits in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. He picked up his 9th save of the year. In the Angels batting lineup, their elite designated hitter in the reigning American League MVP, Shohei Ohtani, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their second baseman, Luis Rengifo, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his first home run of the year. With this win, the Los Angeles Angels are 25-17. That is the second best record in the American League West. They have now won 4 of their last 10 games, and they now sit a game and a half behind the division-leading Houston Astros. And, of course, with this loss, the Oakland Athletics are now 17-25. That is the 5th best record in the American League West, the worst record in the AL West. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They are now sitting 9.5 games behind the division-leading Houston Astros at this moment. That is what the MLB is looking like following yesterday's matchups and taking a really quick look at what's going on today. The earliest games should be on Peacock, even as early as 11:30. But first, going to the doubleheader. The doubleheader will be in the Bronx in Yankee Stadium as the AL leading New York Yankees are set to host the Chicago White Sox. In the first matchup, Jameson Taillon is going to make the start for the Yankees as he comes in with a 4-1 record, holding a 3.28 ERA against Johnny Cueto and the White Sox. The second matchup of this doubleheader will be at 7 o'clock on ESPN as Luis Severino is going to make the start for the Yankees and Michael Kopech is going to make the start for the White Sox. Taking a look at the matchups outside of these on Peacock at 11:35, the Pittsburgh Pirates are set to host the St. Louis Cardinals in PNC Park. At 1:35, the Philadelphia Phillies are set to host the NL West leading LA Dodgers. At 1:35 at the same time, Nathan Eovaldi and the Boston Red Sox are set to host the Seattle Mariners. Mariners are going to be led out by their starting pitcher, Logan Gilbert. He has a 4-2 record holding a 2.4 ERA. At 1:35 at the same time, the Baltimore Orioles are set to host the Tampa Bay Rays, who hold the second best record in the AL East. At 1:37, the Toronto Blue Jays are set to host the Cincinnati Reds, who hold the worst record in the MLB. At 1:40, Sandy Alcantara and the Miami Marlins are set to host the World Series defending champs Atlanta Braves. Alcantara enters this matchup with a 3-2 record, holding a 2.49 ERA. At the same time, at 1:40, Shane Bieber, the elite starting pitcher and former American League MVP on the Cleveland Guardians, is set to host the Detroit Tigers. Bieber enters this matchup with a 1-2 record, holding a 3.72 ERA. At 2:10, the Kansas City Royals are set to host the Minnesota Twins in Kauffman Stadium. At 2:10, the AL West leading Houston Astros are set to host the Texas Rangers in Minute Maid Park. At 2:10, the NL Central leading Milwaukee Brewers are set to host the Washington Nationals at American Family Field. At 2:20, the Chicago Cubs are set to host the Arizona Diamondbacks at Wrigley Field. The Diamondbacks are going to be led up by their starting pitcher, Merrill Kelly. Kelly enters this matchup with a 3-2 record, holding a 3.27 ERA. At 3:10, the Colorado Rockies are set to host the NL East leading New York Mets. At 4:05, we are going to see the San Francisco Giants host the San Diego Padres as they're fighting for the second best record in the NL West. And then last but not least, out of all the non-doubleheaders, at 4:07 on ESPN Plus, in Angel Stadium, the Angels are set to host the Oakland Athletics. Last but not least, jumping out to what's going on with soccer. Of course, with Women's Champions League, Lyonnais was able to beat Barcelona as Lyon would score all three of their goals in the 30 minutes to, of course, inflict their will and pick up a very momentous win. Taking a look at what happened country to country, starting off with France, the Ligue 1 came to its official close yesterday as the number one team in France would be PSG. Of course, after they would ink Mbappe for another 3 years. Kylian Mbappe, their elite French forward, would score the first 2 goals of the game in rapid succession within about 3 minutes from one another. Their third goal will come from their elite Brazilian forward Neymar. Their fourth goal will come from Mbappe to complete his hat trick in the 50th minute. And then, of course, the last goal will come from their elite midfielder Angel Di Maria, as this was Angel Di Maria's last game for PSG this year, as he's going to be playing for Juventus next year. With this finish, PSG, after not having won Ligue 1 last year, they would go on to win Ligue 1 this year by 15 points. And of course, I'm going to do a Ligue 1 review immediately after this. But of course, the team that would finish second in France would end up being Marseille. Marseille would finish with 71 points in the table as they were neck and neck with Monaco going in. And I believe Monaco actually had the goal differential going in. But of course, Marseille didn't give up. They would end up beating Strasbourg 4-0, as Strasbourg ended up with the 6th best record in France. So they were definitely a team fighting for something. Marseille's first goal will come from Garçon in the 32nd minute. Going into the half, it was 1-0. Their second goal will come from Cengiz Under in the 73rd minute. Their third goal will come from Garçon to finish off his brace, and then in the 93rd minute, their goal from Cedric Bakambu would, of course, finish their momentous season, as they were the team that was just able to squeak into that second automatic Champions League spot. And then, of course, that third spot would end up going to Monaco, as Monaco has now fallen to the UEFA Champions League qualifiers. Monaco in their last game would end up drawing with Lens, as the last goal would come from Lens in the 96th minute from Ignatius Ganago. So that would be how AS Monaco would end up third. But as of now, the French league is officially over, as PSG are now officially the champs, and if they want to start a streak of Ligue 1 titles, it has to start from this year, because Lille won last year. Speaking of Lille, after finishing as the best team in France, they would get both their goals from Timmy Weah, as they would end up drawing with Stade Rennais. They would go on to finish the season as the 10th best team in France. They would finish 11 points behind 5th place Nice from at least a Europa League Conference League qualifier. So that is where they finished this season. Taking a look at what happened in Italy now, the top team to really play in Italy yesterday was Juve, as Juve ended up losing to Fiorentina in what would be Juve's last game of the year, as Juve had already entered their way into that 4th and final Champions League spot for Italy. But that is what's going on there. And then taking a look at what happened in Germany, yesterday was the DFB Pokal final, which is their domestic cup. RB Leipzig would end up beating SC Freiburg on penalties, as their lone goal in regular time came from Christopher Nkunku, who would also score one of the penalty kicks to, of course, help RB Leipzig at least finish with a trophy this year, after they lost their coach, their best defender, and their captain, all to Bayern Munich. As Christopher Nkunku is probably going to be gone after the season, but I have no idea. But this trophy would, of course, be very momentous in Christopher Nkunku's magical year this year. But that is what I have, at least from yesterday. Taking a look at what's going on today, as a lot of these seasons should actually be coming to an end. Starting as now that Germany and France are now done, today should be the final day of the Premier League season. The top team in the Premier League that's going to be playing today should be Man City, as they sit only 1 point ahead of Liverpool. They're going to be hosting Aston Villa. Aston Villa enters this matchup holding the 14th best record in England. The second best team in England coming into today will be Liverpool, as Liverpool is only 1 point behind Man City. So, of course, they're fighting for a Premier League title. They're going to host Wolverhampton at 11. Wolverhampton enters this matchup as the 8th best team in England. So even though they've already clinched Champions League, the title is very much up for grabs there. The third best team in England, Chelsea, who's already clinched a Champions League spot, is set to finish their season off against Watford, who enters this season, or who as Watford are currently entering this game as the second worst team in England already facing relegation. Taking a look at the fourth team in England, Tottenham, in their final game trying to get this Champions League spot, is set to face off again, or looking at Tottenham, they're getting ready to face off against Norwich City at 11. Norwich City enters this matchup as the worst team in England, so this is Tottenham's chance. If they win, they win. If they lose somehow, Arsenal would somehow get a chance to leapfrog them. Arsenal, sitting in 5th place, is set to host Everton at 11, as Everton enters his matchup holding the 16th best record in England, as that should be a win for Arsenal as well. That's also going to be another race in England that they're going to be looking at, as it comes down to who's going to be 1 and 2 and who's going to be 4 and 5, because that's going to, of course, determine how seeding is going to go. Man United, sitting in 6th place, will earn a Europa League group stage spot if they pull off a win against Crystal Palace, the 13th ranked team in England. So, of course, like I said, all of the English teams have their final game today. Taking a look at how Spanish La Liga is going to end. Now that's Real Madrid has played their last game. The second best team in Spain, Barcelona, is going to end their season playing against Villarreal, the team that would make it all the way to the semifinals of Champions League this year. It looks as though Villarreal is holding the 7th best record. They're holding on to a Conference League qualifier spot. A win here would actually do a lot for them. Barcelona doesn't really need this win, but of course a win would be a lot for them in front of their hometown fans. The third best team in Spain this year, Atletico Madrid, will finish their season against Sociedad, the 6th best team. As Sociedad is more than likely situated in that 6th spot going into the end of the season. The 4th best team, the team that's holding on to that 4th spot in Champions League, is Sevilla. And because Real Betis' season is already over, Sevilla has already clinched that last spot. But regardless, they're going to end their season against Athletic Club, as Athletic Club enters this matchup as the 8th best team in Spain. So that is, of course, how La Liga is going to end for its top clubs. But taking a look now at what is going on in Italy, because that is the last country that, of course, needs to finish its season. And, of course, Italy is interesting because Italy is seeing its own title race underway. The top team in Italy coming into these matchups right now is AC Milan. They sit 2 points ahead of Inter. They're going to face off against Sassuolo, as they hold the 10th best record in Italy. Inter is going to host Sampdoria, as Sampdoria enters his matchup as the 15th best team in Italy. This is AC Milan's title to lose. Regardless, the title is not going to leave the city of Milan, regardless of which stadium they're going to have to drive it to. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all pans out, as today should more than likely be the last day of Serie A. And after today, all of these domestic seasons should be over, leaving just Champions League as we get to the summer. With that said, I want to thank everyone for listening to all 53 minutes of this piece. I really do hope all is well. Today is Sunday, May 22nd, and once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done, I'm going to come back tomorrow on Monday, May 23rd. So until then, I want to thank everyone once again. I do hope all is well, and I'll catch you with more tomorrow. Thanks for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and peace out. I'll catch you with more tomorrow.